time.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone again. Seems like we just met a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Again, hopefully we'll have a very short meeting today. We got some items to go through. And we've got a special goodbye to say to someone. So we'll go ahead and do that here in just a moment. First order of business is to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
All right, do we have any discussion? All in favor signify, second, yep. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Kristen, do you want to introduce?
Introduce Donna?
Yeah.
Sure, certainly. So as y'all know, of course, I'll be leaving. Next Friday is my last day. But all is well because Miss Donna Hammonds, we've gotten her over here from Swansboro. She was with the Swansboro Chamber for 14 years.
Yep.
14 years. And so while there, she was handling some tours and stuff, and she realized that tourism's fun and that's what she'd like to do full time. So
It's also a lot of hard work.
Well, welcome.
But it's fun, hard work.
The chamber president was easy, so.
Welcome. Are you officially on?
Well, I am. My first day was last Wednesday, but you know, I'm just a shadow right now until
Right.
after May 4th.
Just trying to get settled a little bit. Okay. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get this out of the way. As much as we hate it.
Oh,
Come on
goodness
up.
gracious, I'm gonna cry.
Don't
cry.
You know the routine. Well, it is with some sadness that we're seeing you go, because you've really been a great asset to our community, to our city, to our county, since you've stepped on with that great big smile. Nothing's changed,
And the cowboy boots.
and the cowboy
Cowboy
boots, which
getting those in the
properly fit in, but thank you for all of your hard work in promoting tourism in Onslow County, and particularly with our group here in the city, and unifying the two boards and streamlining communication and sort of having the same passion that we have as working together as one unit. So on behalf of the Jacksonville Tourism Development Authority, we wish you well in all your endeavors, wherever you may go, and hopefully you'll come back one day and rejoin us. So on behalf of all of us and for City Council as well, Mayor Phillips and the rest of the council members, we wish you farewell and thank you for all that you've done. Really, so
Did you guys kind of stand together just a little bit? Let me get a good picture.
Step back so they see the cowboy
Yeah,
boots.
that's.
Donna has to get a pair. It's part of the job.
Yeah, I gotta get a pair. Oh my.
Does she wear the same size you
I don't
do?
know if I'd style it the same way you do. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody can pull those off.
Thank y'all.
All right.
I'm with you.
Feet are so wide.
You're ready to go.
All right. First order of business is the approval of the minutes. You've had a chance to go over them. If you haven't, you can go ahead and do so now. If there's no changes or errors that you found, we'll entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All right, motion carries. Next order of business is the budget public hearing. The required notice did not appear in print within the time needed to hold the scheduled public hearing today. However, as the chairman, we wish to allow anyone who may have seen the announcement and is here today to speak. At this, is anyone here to speak? So John, I guess we can reset the public hearing to our next meeting.
Yes, sir. Thursday, May the 31st.
Do we need a motion for
Yes, sir.
that?
Motion and second.
Okay.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Next order of business, as you know, is the Welcome Center. We have with us today Deanna is it Treble?
Treble.
Treble, got it right the first time, okay, great. She is going to go over the Welcome Center bid proposals that came back and some changes that are associated with that. So Deanna, thank you for being with us, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you for having me, appreciate it. And so, as you know, the Welcome Center is 2,700 square foot, single-story building that we have identified to be constructed at Jacksonville Landing. And just as a reminder, Jacksonville Landing is situated between South Marine Boulevard and Old Bridge Street. And the area that we've identified for the Welcome Center is shown in red. And then kind of zoom it in a little bit. And so the building that we're would like to construct is a 45 by 60 footprint. And so this is what the front of the building would look like, and actually it's not really the front, but it looks like the front. This is what is facing Marine Boulevard, and this will be the main entrance point to the restroom side of the building. This is the area of the view from the actual boat side as you were launching. This is the side that faces the convenience store. And this is one of the main entrance points. And then this is on Old Bridge Street, another entrance point. And so this is the floor plan. It's got 2 offices, a receptionist area, a kitchenette, a data closet, and then the restrooms are on the left side, which are on the Marine Boulevard side. The area that's kind of open it's just that. It's a big open area where you see what I call the little H's. Those, that's just for us to kind of show, but it would be where you could put some pamphlets, et cetera, and they're removable. It's not something that's part of this project. So that whole area is quite open. And so the city solicited bids. We received 4 bids. The lowest responsive bidder came in at a bid at $447,000 and change. And so with contingency, that brings us close to $492,000. And realizing that that exceeded the available budget, we ended up going back to the contractor and asked for some value engineered items. And so we looked at a numerous items, but the largest that we considered was changing the roof structure from a metal roofing to an architectural shingle. And that actually saved us about $20,000. And so that still leaves a shortfall of about $56,000. And so today, I'm presenting 4 options for your consideration. Option 1 would be to build the building as it was currently identified, as its current size and with a metal roofing. And that would mean that we would need additional funding from TDA in the amount of $76,510. Option 2 is we could reduce the building size and make the roof change, and that would reduce the cost to only needing just over $21,000. Or we just make the roof change, and that means that would need additional $56,000, or no additional TDA funding is to be presented for this project. And so with that, I'll kind of turn it over to Glenn for further conversation.
What we wanted to make do is to see where you were in your green money, that money that you have for tourism-related expenses here. And these are the items that you had put in by action latest of September, items that you have to pay out of this year's proceeds of that now 2/3 money that is there. There is $250,000 that is unallocated at this time. So we just merely wanted to show that to you to let you see what your status is.
Thank you, Glenn. I'll just lead the conversation off by saying that Richard and I met over the project, and my recommendation is going to be, I didn't think it was in our best interest to reduce the size. And so my recommendation is going to be to do away with the metal roof and go with a shingled roof, and propose that we, can we go back to the options?
Show the option 3.
Option 3.
Make sure we do it right.
My recommendation would be option 3, but it's before you today, it's for discussion, and, or we can do none at all. So that is open for discussion. Any comments?
Yeah,
I agree. I don't think we should change the size of the building. I think that's, the size of building we need, and we've discussed that. But I do have I have a couple of questions. Who's going to own this building? The city?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Has there been any cost estimates run on, what is so the difference between a shingle roof and a metal roof is $21,000?
Yes.
All right. To replace the roof, what would be the cost? In other words, in 10 years, when you have to reshingle it, do we know what that cost will be?
No, I can find that for you, though.
That's fine. I didn't think we would, but I just wanted to ask.
Probably $10,000 realistically, based on the size of the building, and somewhere, without quoting it, I would think between 6 and 10, I would think.
Yep, seems about reasonable.
But that would be a 20, 30-year shingle.
Which never laughed that long.
Well,
Not on my house, and
Architecture shingles.
yeah.
I just, if it's a city building, I think we need to look at putting the metal building on, the metal roof on there, and ask the city to share in the cost of that, or do the cost of it. That's my personal opinion.
Okay. Randy?
I'm curious, what color was the metal building, metal roof gonna be?
The galvanized
Just a-
silver.
Oh, just silver?
Just a silver,
Okay.
yep.
So it wasn't like.
No, it's not colored. And we found that actually wears much better as the sun, they all tell you that it doesn't fade, but
Oh,
they
right.
do. And so this one is the least amount of fading. It's the same type of roof that we're putting on the marina with the Galvalume.
Oh, okay. And so the architectural, there'll be some color anyway, obviously. You
Yeah,
go with the-
yeah, we haven't set any of the colors,
for
picked any, yeah.
exterior
we
or
haven't-
anything? So you don't
Nope.
know? I mean, do we expect a metal roof to really last forever, or is it just, do you think, obviously it'll outlast shingles, but
Yeah, it outlasts shingles, but as far as the time frame, I can't answer that
can't really
question.
say. And you had option 2, reduce the size, so you already had an idea of
We
some
did.
reduction.
Yeah, we looked at reducing the building back to, it's 45 by 60 now, and I think we were going back to a 45 by 50, 45 by 45, and that was a cost savings of about $35,000. And so basically, as Glenn just pointed out, we would have to shrink that entire area that's shown.
Oh, I see.
And so, for simplistic purposes, we would just be, would be removing an office.
What is I see that we have like a reception room, we got a little kitchenette. What is the thought process about how often this building is going to be used for functions of some sort?
Well, let me take a little bit of that. We don't know is the right answer.
Okay.
We've talked in staff level, and we've talked with our chamber partners about something that's, that could be a regularly scheduled activity there. And these were some of the amenities that were thought to be valuable, and which Richard had suggested from his tour of welcome centers across a large area. And so that's where some of this came from. And then when we had input from some of our partners, the idea of this counter position and being able to have someone kind of be with potentially a volunteer and then a staff person type operation where there's 2 people there at the times in which it operates, that could be supported by this. And one thing we learned from our chamber partners was have some space to store materials that you need something like that. And so both the room that's mentioned as kitchenette is both a storage and a place just to put a microwave and sink and, the type of stuff that you might want a coffee mess at it or something like that as it was. So, I don't see this as a fully functioning kitchen, to be sure. So that's where that is. And in my personal travels, we've certainly seen where these front spaces could be valuable for when we're having a fishing tournament, and this is a reception, where the races, this can be a reception place. All of those things we hope to support, and they have been put in some outside outlets and data outlets so that we can extend out, if we're having a large group come in, do something with that.
Glenn, or Deanna, what is the type or quality of roof on the bathroom that's already down there?
It's a blend of the architectural shingle and metal roofing. So, and it, let's see, the hips of the roof, is what's the accent color with the metal roofing, and then architectural shingles is the remaining roof.
So
So
it-
the pitches is what's the architectural,
So
or
it's-
the
it's-
metal.
So would you say fraction-wise, 2/3 architecture shingle, 1/3 metal, or how would you
Yeah,
break
that would
it
be a good proportion.
down? Okay, so, okay, I can tell you, I would be in favor of option 3, which I think Mike had mentioned, architecture shingles, just at this point, right now, it's a savings of $21,000. I understand metal roofs will last longer, but I just like the match of things aesthetically, so.
And my primary reason, I'll be upfront with it, my primary reason was I believe that the cost estimates are high as it is.
I think so,
The
too.
building's coming in high, I'm not gonna deny that. And that's why I believe the lesser expense is more appropriate than the higher expense. But these are the bids that we got, so, that's what we're having to deal with. Certainly not reducing the size of the building because, again, remember, we wanted the areas to be big enough to have displays based on who will be utilizing the building or potential reunion registration points. And you know, we don't know what the future holds between the city and county tourism. We may merge one day, we may need a central office. There's many things that we can think about in the future, but certainly reducing the size of the building was not the right choice for the amount of money we're spending. So, but it is your pleasure.
I'll just go ahead and make a motion, we adopt option 3.
All right. I have a motion.
I would second that.
I have a second. Any further discussion?
Just one thing.
Yes, sir.
It has nothing to do substantively with the motion. Is the name of the center going to be Jacksonville Landing, or is it going to be Heroes Welcome Center? Have we recommended anything to city council?
I don't believe we brought any recommendations forward, but we'll be glad to entertain.
I mean, I can make a motion later, but I'm just thinking, I like Heroes only because you mentioned it may not just be Jacksonville's by itself. We may ask for the county or perhaps even a base or others, and I like the word hero as being all encompassing of our, sort of partnership with the base. So I just want to throw that out for us to consider that.
I mean, it could be a Heroes Welcome Center and tying in with our logos and things like that, but we'll be glad to, if it's the pleasure of the board, to discuss that with Richard. And Is that your wish?
I'd like to do that, but doesn't
Okay.
have anything to do with the motion.
Okay,
But
certainly,
I'd like for Glenn, to give Glenn some direction to
certainly.
let him know our feelings.
Is the maintenance of this building going to be under the city's maintenance?
I can't answer that question, but Mayor Pro Tem was shaking his head yes. I would-
It would
If it's
fall
a-
under
yeah, if it's a
the
city-
Jacksonville Landing, and I would think so. But I will get you a definite answer on that. I think maybe there may be some cost sharing, or, John, am I off base on that?
That's right.
Yeah,
Cost sharing with who?
with the city,
With the
TDA and city.
TDA and city.
So we're going to be in the maintenance business now?
Well, I said cost sharing, not in the maintenance business, but again, that's a conversation we could have and certainly bring it
Have a
back.
new roof in 20 years.
We could divert some of our administrative, so. Just kidding.
And all of the parking that's associated with this
Did they
building
count
will
for what
be
else they did?
identified? Or will it just mesh with?
No, it just message, all of
existing.
the parking's already there. So the contractor will use that area, some of that area for his laydown in order to construct the building. And he'll be responsible for making sure that it's the same or better condition when he's finished. but there's no separate parking just for the Welcome Center. It's just that single vehicle parking as you see it.
Okay.
Were you given any idea why the estimates came in? It does seem high. I mean, for,
Pretty extremely
well
high.
over 150 or
They were
something.
all high.
What
And from what we've heard is that it's the building climate right now,
Oh.
that we're having a difficult time getting trades. And it's, unfortunately, that's just
Tight market.
economics right now.
When is the projected timeframe for building it, for construction?
I didn't hear an agreement, but if option 3 is selected, then we can proceed forward with executing the contract. And so the contractor is ready to start construction as soon as we can sign the contract. So probably would start mid-May, and I think we gave him about 6 months, I think, to construct.
So end of the year?
By the end of the year, yes, sir.
Any other comments? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We do want to clarify that that intends out of this year's current budget to take that money.
250,000, is that what?
Yes.
It's coming out of the 250.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'll also have a conversation with Dr. Woodruff about your
About the
comments.
Heroes Welcome Center.
Yes.
Yes.
Item number 7, quarterly budget overview or review. Gail?
Okay, as you can see, the revenue is
Dan, are
at
you good?
$600,000. I don't know where that percentage came from. Should be closer to 72%, not 48, which is about where we should be. Should be about
My
7.
error, I put the wrong number there.
About 75%, so we're at 72%. Good thing I got my notes, huh?
Yes.
And then the administrative, we are at about 82, 83% of the budget. And that's expenses that come in at one time for the audit and for the insurance and those things. So that's pretty okay. The promotion money, we're at 37%. That's a little bit low, but there are a number of things in there that we haven't spent yet, and I don't know, like signage, correct?
We're getting ready.
Okay, so that will be spent shortly.
Okay.
The related expenditures, we're at 61%, and we just appropriated another 70 or 50,000. So
I'll take it up.
some of it is not yet accounted for or
Allocated.
spent, allocated. There you go.
Okay. Any questions for Gail? Everything seems to be on target. All right, thank you, Gail. Appreciate it. Strategic work of the authority, item number 8. We had the art block since our last meeting, which is on page 19 of your packet. Glenn?
Well, we want to take you in on that, and of course, the memo just came in this morning, so that's why you have a revised package in front of you, which is also an iLegislate for everyone in there. This was just this past weekend. It was a nice day and a bit of a chill, but it was a great day to be outside. You see how the new murals were showcased in here, back also with the feeding station for the volunteers and the restrooms. But one of the things that had been a target was to try to get the art council out of the doors, and that happened. And but they had people that also got to come in and see what was indoors, and to see that also as part of it. It was a great place out in the front of it. Of course, one of the key part of this is the plein air painting, and there were lot of entries in there, and that's where the room nights came from. But local artists, they had some others that came in from other places to be a part of it. You could perform your own art out there with, on the big boards they put up, and there were certainly a variety of artistic endeavors that were there by the time the end of the day came around. But the part I personally like best is this plein air painting, where you get to see these out-of-town artists and some in town, as you can see from Phillips here, that we all know who that is and such there, Jim Phillips. Their perspective This is obviously down by Wilson Bay, looking at a residential lot from the side of Wilson Bay Park. Many of us know this. Here's an interesting nighttime painting of the Vietnam Memorial. And John Outhouse, of course, got a picture of Dean Wilmington painting this picture as it was. So that one was a very nice one that went out there as it was. And this also is along the waterfront, and there were many like that as it was. Here are more interpreted type painting here as it was too, as there. But there were a lot of people there, and there was a lot of activities. The food trucks were popular, and Teresa, you were there for quite a lot of the day. Anything you wish to add?
I think this year they had some different types of vendors than they had last year, which was exciting to see, because you don't want to come, if someone came last year, to see the same exact thing. So that was nice. And I did hear comments from people about the Arts Council itself. I think it helps having the paintings on the side, and I think dressing it up like they have, and it's so cleaned up and bright and looks nice. I heard comments as people were coming out that they didn't realize that we had that type of thing here. So it was a pleasure to hear that.
And I'll just let Teresa go ahead and talk about the upcoming events.
Yep, we've got a couple of things on our schedule here. The Marine Raiders Mud Run. Chris, are you doing that? Oh,
Not this one.
darn. The Jacksonville Jamboree for the city's event is coming up pretty quick. We've got lots of overnight stays for that. The Sensational is the Twilight Beach Run that did part of the Marine Corps Community Services, MCCS. That's a really different kind of run, which is what they were going for. And then, of course, National Night Out, our staple. I'd like to add one thing, too, on the heels of Kristen leaving, but the other door opens and Donna comes in. Donna has jumped right in, and we are, in your next meeting, you will see a visitor's guide that is the collaboration of the city and the county. We have spent hours and hours and hours to get to get this one just exactly right. So we're on our last round of edits, and that will be going to print within probably a week or 10 days.
Great.
So.
Great, thank you. Any questions?
Sure.
Okay, great. Next order of business is going to be Sturgeon City update.
Well, we were to just show you what the construction looks like as of today. So that's what it looked like a little bit earlier in the month, and then the pictures now that you're seeing are pictures that were today. They've got the decking in for the roof and such there, and things are certainly moving along in the construction of the Environmental Education Center as it was. Some of the work that's been going on is the AV and visitor experience enhancements. Most recently, a delegation from the board traveled to Havelock to chat with some folks there. And they are also finding some mentors among some folks to chat with them. And the recruitment documents are in for getting people to sign up to use the building are in development at this time. Just today, while we were down there and subsequently shortly out of it, was that other point that they've been making about trying to recruit class trips and other things from out of the area to go for that travel that comes in there. And Pamlico County Schools was there with 2 buses and full of kids, and they even sent me a copy of the check to show, but it was like, okay, we get you there. But, you know, this is an active operation as it was. And we thought that you might also want to know about the Earth Day that they hosted there. They had about 600 young people there, and it was quite an active site. And this was something where there were a lot of free activities, but there were also activities they could pay for, the beekeepers and things like that. And some honey got taken home, both on hands and in bellies, I suppose. But it was very, very popular as it was, and the site was well used out there at this time. And then I thought you might want to see that Paula did have her baby on March 30th. Awesome. And so she was down there visiting just today. And we thought we would show that to you. That picture is just a few hours old.
That's awesome.
As it was.
Thank you, Glenn. All right, Sturgeon City, we got that
And on the Sports
covered.
Commission, if I might just mention that, since we'll proceed on. As mentioned, Scott and his entire staff is at the National Association of Sports Commissions meeting. and it's in Minneapolis, correct? Yes. Okay. So they're up there all trying to find business to bring back here and go forward from that point. They did want us to mention, obviously, they had these 3 events that were just basically the 12th, 13th, and 14th of this month with the Hall of Fame, and then the Freedom Fight on that Friday night, and then they had the All Marine Boxing Alumni Hall of Fame, a ceremony and an alumni. This is some of the pictures of the activity, the Hall of Fame activity at the Hilton Garden Inn, and of course there were 4 honorees, and unfortunately Edward E.R. Mason had passed on that very day that the honors will be made, but he passed having known that he had been inducted into the Jacksonville Onslow Sports Hall of Fame, as it was. And Jennifer was particularly passionate in her mind, and Leon Spinks, his wife, spoke for him as well as Sergeant Major Klein on that. And he was obviously very honored. And then the coach of the girls' women's basketball team for NC State spoke, and he didn't say a foul word about Carolina, so that was good.
I couldn't get to him.
Thank you, Glenn. Kristen?
Well, as you know, most of probably since we've last met has been training Donna here, getting her set up so that she could start taking over. Just a few things in addition to that. Both of us attended the Southern Women's Show in Raleigh. I think it was busier this year than it was last year, for sure, definitely. Our setup was a little better this time too, so we were able to get a lot of material out there. Had a lot more questions this year as well about people just trying to come to this area. We had one lady who came through who is helping her take her niece, it was her niece, correct, to ECU. And they're planning a whole vacation along the way. And I'm going to stay in our area and everything like that. And then I just returned yesterday from Southeast Tourism Society conference in Myrtle Beach. Gone to 2 conferences in Myrtle Beach and both of them were rained. That's okay. Guess it's better that I'm stuck in class. I know. Where it was actually the first time they've had it as an annual conference, so it was a little bit of professional enrichment. But then I also got to receive my travel marketing professional certification. So
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was 3 years in the making, and now we've got Donna signed up for it, so she gets to start now. But it will be wonderful. Besides that, it was just getting her trained and ready to go. And before I turn it over to her, for her to give you a little update, and she was busy while I was gone. I came in and she was just working away. So trust me, it is left in very good hands. I'm going to try to say this without getting emotional. Just thank you. You guys let me come in here and, oh God.
Ah, you didn't make it. It's okay.
Kick her boots around.
And you just let me come in here and I felt right at home right away, and I wanted to appreciate. And I look forward to following along, and I hope that it continues. I think it's in a wonderful place, and I think we're definitely getting up there and putting our place on the map. So thank
We
you.
enjoyed having you.
Yeah, we've enjoyed having it, and we'll miss you.
Sincere.
And of course, we welcome Donna.
Oh, when I'm coming home with teary eyes, I'm not run alone with anybody. I'm off.
Well, as Kristen will tell you, we're all on the same team, and we're here to help each other and help each other succeed. So welcome aboard, and I'll turn it over to you.
Well, it's just while she was out, she took me, because there were a few things, because I've served on the Tourism Advisory Committee for Onslow County since 2009. But it's been a while since we did FAM tours, and there's a few new things that I hadn't seen, and she was taking me around on Friday. I'm like, man, I'd really love to see about working with Peggy Gardner out of the Cooperative Extension about bringing those back for our, frontline staff at all the hotels. So I gave her a call on Monday, and she said, great. So I'm meeting with her on May. I'm already far ahead. May 18th to kind of talk about that. She said the pricing would still be the same, so I'm kind of excited about getting that started again, because even the first time that I did it back in like 2011, even though I had lived here since 2003, I mean, I learned things. So I know that there's more hotels now, and, frontline staff, especially with the military community, changes over so fast. So I think that would be very important, kind of bringing in and educating and training our frontline staff so that they can better address the visitors' needs that come, so. But that's one thing that I hope to get going here pretty soon. And then also I spoke with Mr. Glenn yesterday, and Mr. Garner is a go for the 7th and the 9th of June. I also serve on the North Carolina Coast Host Board of Directors as their marketing chair, and we're having our annual meeting in Emerald Isle on May 17th. And Bob Garner, who is one of the restaurant hosts for Weekend Now, and then also has had his own program on UNC TV, is going to be our keynote speaker that night. So I just called him up just to ask a question and say, is there a way we can add onto your trip, either a day before or a day after? But it didn't work because he had another speaking engagement. And I said, well, how about coming back for a 2-day stay in the county and just let me show you around as a whole? And I sent him some dates, and it happened to be the date that worked really well for Mr. Glenn too. So he's going to come back. We won't have a TV crew, but just kind of take him around and let him kind of try the various food options in our county, and hopefully he has a great experience and they decide to come back and put some of it on film and put it on UNC TV.
Great news.
Does anybody watch Bob Garner at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Deborah, yeah, that's exactly what you got. A man can say in so many different ways.
I'm always prepared for the no, and he was like, that sounds like that would be fun. And he goes, yes. He goes, I've never been to Onslow County. So he
Get
went
outta
to
here.
Mike's farm many, many years ago, he said, but it had been a while. But he said it had been a while since he'd been here, so he was looking forward to it. I told him there were a lot of new places to eat around here, many on the water and many locally owned by veterans, so they have great stories behind them as well. So that was story content for TV.
Great, thank you so much, and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Spending plan development.
This is your time that you are to tell the staff if there's anything you want included in the spending plan. We've had some feedback. This is a time because we plan to bring this to you at your next meeting.
We just did.
Okay, got the message.
Is there anything? Okay.
Said it all.
Thank you, Glenn. Occupancy tax collections.
We'll go through this quickly. It's in your program. I will let you, your program, your agenda package as it was there with Thinking Tourism. I think it's remarkable that you're seeing that we are still at, it was 7% up over the same time last year when we last met. It's 8% now in time. You'll notice in the budget, proposed budget that Gail and her staff have put together on there, they're now putting your estimate at, instead of 890 at 980. So, I mean, that's going to be an interesting number as it was. What is the actual number? But anyway.
She's looking at her
checking me
notes to
here.
make sure on
She's
that.
checking me here. She's making me feel bad. It's on page 12.
950.
950, okay. So it's 950 is what they're proposing for next year, and we certainly are on the trend for that as it was. I do want to show that we're still up over the high period. There was that 2-year period. We're at 3.9% over that. So, I mean, we've got some way to go, but here you see in there where the 2-year trend is with Onslow at the green line there. And then the FY17 is the dark blue, and the Carolina blue is FY18 as it was. So those are good things. And I put this one in here just to show you, while we have the conversation among the staff about these individual areas, this one just stands out. I mean, this is over when Miguel and all them are at, but I want you to see, this is Western Boulevard. Now that dark blue line, that's FY11. That's the first year we were in existence of what was the funding. And of course, we know this is where we have new facilities there, including the Hampton and the Hilton Garden Inn and the Marriott and such there. But that's holding up the boat right there. That's where it is. So that's what
Glenn,
we
is
have.
there any relationship between the Duke blue and the Carolina blue shooting up to the sky?
Carolina blue is good.
Yeah. Thank you. Now we're at the item number 14, One City Moment.
And I just wanted to say, I think it's real easy to pick it from what happened down there at the Earth Day. You saw so many different people. It was a feeling of very much inclusiveness and a part of this community that was a welcome to many different areas came together for that. And then obviously people got to see their neighbors down at Art Block. It was a real neighbor meets neighbor type event, but there were so many out-of-town people that were there, and it was it was a great feeling of what you want this image of our community to be, that it was welcoming, open, and inviting. And if I had a snapshot that I could have taken of Kristen crying, I would have put that as the third item in the One City moment about, that we really do want to welcome people and make them feel a part of our community.
Thank you. Directors, any comments?
I just want to say before we close that, I was at the Children's Carnival downtown at the Bowl Building, given by the Gordon ad Litem program. It was the third annual Children's Carnival. And we had between 100 to 150, maybe even more, but it was the biggest crowd we ever had. And I've never seen so many children in my life. And so much energy, because when they would fall to the ground, I would look and say, if I fell, I couldn't get up. So, but it was just, they were just having so much fun. And I just want to say hats off to the Garden ad Litem organization for putting on that Children's Carnival downtown. And it was a success. They didn't ask for any funding, I don't think, from tourism, but it was just a nice event. It's good to see that.
Thank you for sharing that. Randy?
I have, I guess, a request for staff that maybe pass on to Scott. I thought about something he said last time about they had missed on some bids for certain events. And it would probably maybe help me a little bit if I could maybe get a presentation on the bid process, because I really don't understand. When he said it, a lot of questions came to mind. So maybe with the Sports Commission.
Absolutely.
But they
Also
have to-
tie
but
into
they have-
where he's at right now, because this is how he develops the leads to go get the bids for. So this would be a great time to do it at the next session, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, he's gathering that type of information because I followed up after our last meeting with him that I think this board would appreciate some additional information about what kind of events are that we can't compete with. And so he's gathering that information.
Just to see the process would help.
Yeah.
Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you guys for being here today, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.